Hey guys, it's Chris. From the kings of the jungle to masters of the river you never want to run into in the dark, here are 8 of the most fearless animals ever. Number 8. Wild boar. When you think of a boar, you likely think of them as pigs with tusks that are kinda mean. It seems like wild boar are simple creatures, but the fact of the matter is that they've become some of the most fearless animals on Earth. And that deserves to be respected. In fact, because of human intervention, wild boar are actually one of the most wide-ranging species on Earth. Native to forests in Europe, North Africa, China, and India, they've been introduced to New Zealand and the US, where they have mixed with native wild pigs and become kind of a menace. They reproduce in such high numbers that they're actually kind of invasive in certain areas. So why are they fearless? Especially since they have a lot of predators that don't seem to have a lot of trouble killing them. Well, it comes down to their social life. Wild boar actually have very social lives in their packs, which are female-dominated, by the way. When they feel threatened, they'll attack. In fact, there have been documented wild boar attacks on humans that go back to the Stone Age. And when they strike you, well, they don't stop until you go down, and you stay down. It was a favorite animal to hunt with dogs and spears. It was a distinguishing mark of King Richard III of England, and the boar's head was considered a delicacy. True, they may lose more than they win, but to protect themselves, their families, and their packs, they'll rush headfirst into battle with no hesitation. Number 7. Polar bears. There are many reasons for a creature to be fearless. It can simply be a matter of brain chemistry, or maybe because you're an apex predator. Sometimes you're fearless because you know no one can screw with you. Which brings me to the polar bear. To be fair, I could have put bears as a whole on here, and I would have been justified to do so, as bears are pretty fearless. But there's something big that separates polar bears from other species of bear, and it's their environment. Forget predators, one of the biggest things that can kill animals is the weather, especially when it's cold. Yet the polar bear is able to move through the frozen tundra it calls home without any complaints. Its fur is literally designed to keep the heat in its body. Because of that, it can go through snow, frozen lakes, blistering winds, and more without any fear of being severely hurt. They're excellent swimmers and typically prey on seals. They will stalk breathing holes and cracking ice waiting for seals to appear and then just grab them. They can be very aggressive if necessary because seals have some very sharp teeth. Mama polar bears don't hesitate to do whatever it takes to protect their young. And you have to admit, baby polar bear cubs are very cute. Since they have no natural enemies besides us, that's pretty good for their confidence levels. Number 6. Great white sharks. Remember that line I said about no one screwing with you? Yeah, that definitely applies to the legendary and infamous great white shark. Sharks aren't as fearless as you might think. It honestly does depend on the species, but when it comes to the baddest of the bad, the great white tops all. No, it's not the biggest shark, but it is one of the most aggressive, and it's never afraid to stake its claim in the waters. Male great white sharks can grow over 20 feet long, with an official record being about 26 feet long. Their mouths are filled with razor-sharp teeth, and they can jet through the water, as well as launch themselves into the air as a hunting tactic to stun prey they've likely caught in the strike. That's a pretty strong move. And though great white attacks on humans are often overly exaggerated, they are not afraid to attack us. Heck, if even one great white on this planet decides to act like Bruce from Jaws, we are doomed. Weirdly, there's another aspect that makes them fearless. If they see something that's threatening or unknown, they just attack it. Many great whites have attacked shark cages, all to get the tasty treat inside. When you're an apex predator, it's awesome to face the challenge. Number 5. Hippo. What about an animal that lives in the water and above it? Yes, I speak of the mighty hippo, which most definitely deserves a place on this list. Because while most people would think of hippos as docile, or hungry in some cases, the fact of the matter is that people who think that haven't been too close to a hippo. A true wild hippo, we should say. In the places they live like Africa and Colombia, thanks to a certain drug lord, the natives knew that they needed to give these creatures a wide berth. Because while they usually won't start a fight, they dang sure will finish it. Their jaws can bite down on someone with incredible force, and they have been known to kill humans on occasion when things get out of hand. They're also very territorial and hate if you get too close. Some rural towns are being terrorized by hippos because the only transportation is by river, and the hippos are not having it. Plus, to use gaming terms, hippos are tanks. Male hippos can weigh 4,000 pounds. That'll crush you easily, maybe even accidentally if you're not careful. Hippos make their presence known in the rivers and waters they inhabit, and you'll almost always see their heads poking above the water. So take that as a sign. It's okay to look, just don't get too close. Number 4. Wolverine. No, not Hugh Jackman, the actual Wolverine. You know, the animal his character was named after. Anyway, it may come to surprise that this small yet durable animal is one of the most fearless creatures in the world. But it all really comes down to what the Wolverines are willing to do. For example, unlike many creatures, Wolverines don't hibernate. They actually feel right at home in winter areas, and their thick fur keeps them warm. What's more, they like living in places that have high elevation, which is hard to maintain, but they don't care. Wolverines have been known to cross mountains just because they can, even though there are potentially easier roads to travel. Cases have been found of Wolverine going 18 miles in one day, and in one case, going 500 miles in 42 days. That's a lot of traveling for a creature that can be really small. They're scavengers by nature and are more than willing to go pick up the scraps. They may not sound fearless, but sometimes letting others do the work for you, thus risking not having anything to eat, requires great courage. They love meat and also aren't afraid to go hunt down some rabbits and rodents. But these guys also aren't afraid to attack animals that are much bigger than them, like elk, deer, and caribou. These animals are pretty scary looking, and I would definitely try and stay out of their way. Number 3. Gray wolf. Picture this. You're in the woods, you're lost, and all of a sudden you hear growling noises all around you. What's the worst thing that can pop up? If you thought wolves, you are right, for wolves are fearless in every sense of the word. And you do not want to be on their prey list. Wolves often get a bad rap. They're seen as evil creatures, when in fact they're just adapting to the environment around them. They're actually very intelligent and cunning, and they know the value of working as a team. Fun fact, wild wolves can learn to work together very quickly, but if you put some wild dogs together, they can't work together. As for their fearlessness, that often comes from their pack mentality. They know that if one wolf can't take down a prey, one of its other pack members will. In fact, the term lone wolf isn't as common as you might think. It does happen, which further proves their fearlessness, but they prefer to be in their packs because they know about strength in numbers. Wolves are also not afraid to go toe-to-toe against bigger and deadlier foes, and they're able to travel across all kinds of terrain. In many ways, the wolves, especially the gray wolf, are the top dog of their kingdom. And that's probably why they're one of my favorite animals ever, just saying. Number 2. Lion. The king of the jungle definitely deserves a spot on this list, and a high one at that. Weirdly though, lions don't live in jungles. They live in open plains. This is a case of mistranslation, as jungle is translated from Hindi, and in that language it means not an inhabited place, mainly not inhabited by humans. Regardless, lions are very fearless, but not just the males. The females are fierce and are sometimes just as fearless as the males. It's the lionesses who do most of the hunting, with the male lion taking a rest. That's fearless in my mind, to have so much confidence in your status that you know your pride will respect you even when you don't hunt and make sure you get your due. Plus, the lion, male or female, is just such an incredible and intimidating creature that it's almost stupid to think they're anything but fearless. And yeah, I know there are those stories about cowardly lions, but think about why they were made. They were meant to be oxymorons, as the real-life equivalents were anything but cowardly. So if the king of the jungle isn't in the top spot, then who is? Number 1. Honey badger. That's right, honey badger don't care. They don't care at all, and that's why they're number 1, the most fearless animal on my list. And no, I'm not doing this just because of the popular meme. It's actually a fact documented by Guinness Book of World Records. But why are they fearless? Simple. They're incredibly tough to kill. Now, when I say that, I don't mean they're hard to catch or that they have an evasive style that makes predators miss a lot. Rather, their skin has become so hard that between humans and animals, it's hard to penetrate. How tough is it? If you shot an arrow at it or tried to jab it with a spear, it wouldn't do anything. Even a machete barely does damage against the skin of a honey badger. Taking it to another level, their skin, which is very rubbery, allows them to be very mobile, even when they are caught in the mouth of a foe. So they'll literally wiggle and squirm until they can get their hands and feet into a position of strength and will claw and scratch their foes until they drop them. Oh, and did I mention that honey badgers are pretty much immune to most animal poisons? And even when a poison gets through their skin, they usually only get knocked out. As if all this wasn't enough to get you to respect this fearless animal, honey badgers are known to be incredibly intelligent, which makes them a very vicious predator. So let's recap, shall we? Near impenetrable skin, great mobility even in the mouth of a predator, immune to most poisons pretty much, and very intelligent. Why wouldn't the honey badger be the most fearless animal in the world? Thanks for watching, guys. Which animal was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.